But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing.
50 Cent just dropped some never-before-seen behind-the-scenes footage that Terrence Howard allegedly handed over to him. And let's just say, it's all about Diddy's so-called freak-offs. Terrence Howard is finally letting the cat out of the bag, and the tea is positively scalding. For years, Terrence hinted that his career took a nosedive because he refused to play along with certain shady behind-the-scenes antics in the industry. Now, with all these claims swirling around Diddy, it feels like the curtain's finally being drawn back. People are starting to see who was really pulling the strings behind those velvet ropes. And let's not pretend Diddy's the only name being tossed around in this circus. Terrence didn't just drop one bomb, he came armed with a whole arsenal. He even lobbed some serious shade at Diddy's alleged involvement with Young Miami. Word has it she made appearances at those wild parties too. But the real shocker? What Terrence says he caught on camera, and let's just say, it's juicier than anyone ever imagined. This isn't just your average celebrity gossip. No, this one's got enough drama to send shockwaves through the entire industry. What's even wilder is that Terrence decided to unload all of this out of nowhere. No one was asking him about Diddy. No one was pressing him for the details. Then suddenly, bam! He sits down on a podcast and just spills everything. His story is eerily consistent with the long-whispered rumors about Diddy that have been floating around for years. And if that wasn't enough, Terrence took it a step further by diving into some seriously uncomfortable territory. Claims of shady setups and awkward situations that sound like they came straight out of a thriller. According to Terrence, Diddy reached out for acting help, supposedly needing some coaching. But Terrence insists the whole vibe was off, and it had nothing to do with the script. Sure, Diddy's dabbled in acting before, but nothing that would justify calling in a seasoned actor like Terrence Howard for a one-on-one session. The whole situation just doesn't add up. By the end of Terrence's bombshell revelations, it's clear this isn't just a little gossip that'll blow over in a few weeks. This is a full-blown industry earthquake, and the aftershocks are just beginning. Terrence showed up thinking it was just another business meeting, ready to talk shop, but the moment he stepped through the door, everything shifted. The energy in the room turned on a dime. Diddy, who'd seemed all business at first, allegedly started acting in a way that made it clear he had a very different agenda. Terrence wasn't having any of it. He didn't play coy, didn't wait to see how things might play out, he just shut it down. No hesitation, no second guessing. He let everyone know exactly where he stood, then made his exit without so much as a backward glance. End of story, or so it seemed. But it wasn't just that one meeting. According to Terrence, this wasn't a one-off situation. He claims Diddy had pulled similar moves with others. The pattern, as Terrence tells it, was all too clear. Practically every man who set foot in Diddy's infamous party scenes ended up caught in some kind of compromising situation. And we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill Hollywood party shenanigans. No, Terrence painted a picture of something far more twisted. According to him, those men didn't leave the parties the same. He even claimed they lost their man cards at these events. His way of saying something profoundly troubling was going on behind closed doors. This isn't your average celebrity having too much fun story. The vibe Terrence described is downright suspicious. And it's not even the first time he's pointed a finger at the darker side of Hollywood's social scene. Terrence Howard has been speaking out for years about what he sees as the industry's twisted, unwritten rules. This wasn't about being jaded or washed up. It was about drawing a line in the sand. Terrence refused to play by those rules, and according to him, that refusal is exactly what got him pushed out. A few years ago, Terrence went on record about why he really stepped back from acting, and his reasoning had nothing to do with burnout or lack of roles. He made it clear. Hollywood was trying to strip him of his identity, of his self-respect, and he wasn't having it. Once he started saying no to their so-called rules, the Whisper campaign began. They branded him as difficult, as a problem, flipping the narrative just as they've done to countless others in the industry, especially women who've dared to call out predatory behavior. It's the same playbook, just a different target. So when Terrence announced his sudden retirement from acting in December 2022, people were blindsided. He was still getting big roles, still adored by fans, and still seemingly on solid ground. From the outside looking in, there was no obvious reason for him to walk away. No public feud, no scandal, nothing. It just didn't add up. But behind the scenes, according to Terrence, there was a much uglier truth. He says he was repeatedly put in uncomfortable situations, like Hollywood was testing him, pushing to see how far he'd bend to keep his place in the industry. And when he wouldn't budge, when he stood firm, they began edging him out. Bit by bit, roll by roll, the offers slowed, and the Whisper Network made sure his name stopped coming up in conversations. Eventually, it wasn't Terrence walking away. He was being pushed. Terrence Howard didn't hold back when he described what Hollywood put him through. According to him, they went straight for his identity, trying to undermine his manhood. And when he refused to play along, that's when the industry turned on him. It wasn't some dramatic falling out or high-profile scandal. It was quieter, subtler. One moment he was in, the next he was out. Just like that. No public farewell, no major headlines. He simply disappeared from the big screen. But even after stepping out of retirement, Terrence made one thing clear. He wasn't staying silent anymore. Since returning to the spotlight, Terrence has been pulling back the veil on what he says are Hollywood's darkest secrets. One of the most jarring claims he keeps making? The relentless pressure to wear a dress on screen. According to Terrence, this push wasn't about artistic expression or some groundbreaking role. He insists it felt like a calculated move, an attempt to diminish his masculinity and chip away at his self-respect. The scripts, as he tells it, didn't even justify the wardrobe choices. There was no narrative reason for him to don a dress, just a behind-the-scenes nudge that he saw as a power play. And it's not just his story. He's one voice among many. For years, other black male actors have voiced the same frustrations. They've shared stories of producers trying to sneak dress-wearing scenes into scripts for no apparent reason, except it seems to test their boundaries. Comedian Cat Williams famously went on record about it too, in an explosive interview with Club Shay Shay. Cat didn't mince words. He called out the industry's long-standing tactics, revealing how many times he'd been offered a hefty paycheck in exchange for compromising his image. The way Cat described it, the pressure wasn't just subtle, it was persistent, and it was lucrative. But Cat stood his ground. No matter how tempting the check, he wouldn't trade his integrity. Terrence, it turns out, shared Cat's resolve. And when Cat's interview started gaining traction online, Terrence saw his moment. He spoke out too, adding his voice to the growing chorus of dissent. What he had to say hit hard. Remember all those old rumors about Terrence's so-called bad attitude, or the whispers that he was just too difficult to work with? That narrative stuck around for years. But once Cat Williams began exposing Hollywood's behind-the-scenes games, Terrence seized the opportunity to challenge the story that had followed him. He wasn't about to let those whispers define him anymore. Terrence didn't mince words about why he was replaced. It wasn't about being a troublemaker or causing drama. It was because he stood firm. He refused to let the industry make a mockery of him or rob him of his dignity. In his eyes, that's why they let him go. And when asked, he dropped a quote that stuck with people. "My daddy taught me, never take the vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raised no sheep, I raise men. Stay a man." But he didn't stop there. Terrence took his message even further, saying, "Being a man comes with a curse now, because this society ain't built for real men anymore. Everything's androgynous. The more successful men are nowadays, the more soft they look." His words sparked a conversation about what it means to hold on to traditional strength in a world that often celebrates its erosion. And in another interview, Terrence dug even deeper, arguing that there's been a concerted effort to strip away masculinity, especially from strong black men, because it's seen as threatening. He claimed the image of the black man had been intentionally diminished, calling it a new formula that pushes men toward being more effeminate and less powerful. According to Terrence, society is fine with white men standing tall and exuding strength, but when a black man stands firm, it's labeled as a threat. "I'm not removing any part of myself just to make your story work," he said. "Maybe it's your story that needs to grow." To him, true masculinity isn't something to be erased. It's about standing strong and still appreciating a woman's beauty, finding balance without surrendering what makes a man. Terrence's candid remarks have stirred up plenty of buzz, especially as he's tied these sentiments to his explosive claims about Diddy. Fans have started connecting the dots, piecing together a larger picture of what's been happening behind the scenes. But if you think Terrence has finished spilling the tea, think again. Rumors are flying that he's still sitting on even bigger revelations, secrets that might be even more damaging than what he's already shared. And at the center of it all, Diddy's rumored side piece, Young Miami. When Terrence's interviews first went viral, 50 Cent tried to steer clear of the drama. He posted, "No comment, I'm staying positive. God help us all." But things have taken a turn. Lately, 50 Cent has been dropping hints and teasing some bombshell claims, allegedly about a certain Freakoff video. The rumor mill says that Terrence filmed the footage himself, capturing moments from one of those infamous parties. And the big question hanging in the air is, what exactly is on that tape? Allegedly, the footage reveals Young Miami in a scenario that's raising all kinds of questions. And at this point, people aren't even surprised. The rumors have been circulating for a while now, and the whispers on the street suggest that Young Miami wasn't just standing on the sidelines. Some folks are saying she might have been more involved than anyone realized. Allegedly, not a bystander, but an active participant in these infamous freak-offs. What's fueling all this speculation? Receipts, specifically a heated moment that unfolded after Gina Huen, another woman rumored to be linked to Diddy, posted a photo with him. Young Miami reportedly didn't just throw shade, she came out swinging. The word on the street is that she went as far as threatening to get Diddy to bring Gina into one of those notorious parties as payback. The alleged messages that surfaced were savage, painting a picture of some serious behind-the-scenes drama. In these messages, Young Miami supposedly fired off brutal digs, saying things like, "Gina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 15 years. You've been around as a placeholder. That EP Diddy gave you? Crumbs. You an eater." She didn't stop there, reportedly mocking Gina's earlier statements. "You're the same girl who cried to Tasha K about wanting a baby. Poor Sushi. I have a career. You a certified freak? You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards." The sharpest line of them all? "If I wanted you to eat me, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You would have been a munch." That particular zinger had social media spinning in circles, but the alleged drama doesn't end there. Young Miami's name surfaced again in another messy situation involving Diddy. When yet another of Diddy's rumored romantic partners turned up pregnant, things got even more complicated. According to reports, the woman faced harassment and was allegedly pressured into silence. This unnamed individual, identified only as Jane Doe in court documents, claimed that during a visit to Diddy's Los Angeles mansion in July 2022, she was coerced into taking unidentified substances. The allegations suggest she was put in a compromising situation at Diddy's command, with claims she had to ingest something unfamiliar inside his own bathroom. This web of accusations, alleged threats, and secret recordings has everyone talking. Whether these claims will lead to more revelations or fade into the ever-churning industry rumor mill, one thing's for sure. This isn't just idle gossip anymore. The court documents revealed even darker details. Jane Doe discovered that what she was allegedly forced to take included ketamine or a similar combination of substances, leaving her barely conscious throughout the night. She asserted in no uncertain terms that she never consented to ingest anything like that. What followed was a series of deeply disturbing accounts. Jane Doe claimed that after being drugged and blacking out, she would awaken to find herself covered in bruises and injuries. Evidence, she said, of terrible things happening to her while she was incapacitated. According to her, Diddy would have her perform for him, ply her with drinks and drugs until she passed out, and then she'd come to without knowing what had occurred. This pattern wasn't a one-time incident. Jane Doe alleged it continued repeatedly, spanning all the way to July 2024. But it didn't stop there. She learned she was pregnant, allegedly with Diddy's child. And that's when things went from bad to worse. Jane Doe claimed that the harassment from Young Miami escalated. She described relentless bullying, asserting that Young Miami actively pressured her toward having a miscarriage. The documents painted a chilling picture. After Jane Doe confirmed her pregnancy with a test, she told Diddy. In response, Carrie Brownlee, a name closely associated with Diddy, allegedly began hounding her to terminate the pregnancy. Jane Doe stated that the stress and harassment ultimately led to her losing the baby. Afterward, she avoided any contact with Diddy's circle for nearly 3 months, retreating from the chaos. Here's where the plot thickens. Carrie Brownlee, it turns out, is allegedly none other than young Miami herself, one half of the City Girls. Given her previous reactions, including a widely publicized meltdown when Diddy fathered another child back in 2022, fans weren't exactly shocked. Her behavior had already raised eyebrows before. And just when the story seemed it couldn't grow any more tangled, a new legal twist emerged. Lil Rod's lawsuit. In this fresh set of claims, the accusations extended beyond Diddy to include young Miami. Lil Rod's updated filing didn't just point fingers at Diddy's alleged behavior, it also dragged young Miami into the controversy, alleging that she was far from a passive presence at those infamous gatherings. The allegations in the lawsuit go far beyond just young Miami herself. They claim she was not only deeply involved, but also brought her family into the fold. According to Rod, young Miami wasn't just a passive observer, she was allegedly aware of everything going on and remained silent about it. But what really shocked people was one incident that stood out as particularly disturbing. Rod's lawsuit described a chaotic scene where Diddy, allegedly intoxicated, offered cocaine to Lil Rod, Mr. Jones. When Mr. Jones refused and went to the restroom, things took an unexpected and unsettling turn. Young Miami's cousin reportedly followed him into the bathroom, where she began groping him against his will. Then, according to the claims, she got on her knees and attempted an unwanted act. Mr. Jones managed to push her away and leave the bathroom, but the situation didn't end there. The filing states that the cousin continued to pursue him, trying to strip down and force herself on him in front of Diddy and his staff. This wasn't presented as a one-time occurrence, but rather part of an ongoing pattern. Another alleged incident took place on Thanksgiving night in Miami in 2022. Mr. Jones claimed that Diddy summoned him and another man, Forrest Taylor, to the studio bathroom, asking for a $100 bill so they could partake in drugs with him. Terrified, Mr. Jones avoided the situation only because he didn't have the cash. However, Diddy allegedly didn't stop there and later turned his attention to young Miami, involving her instead. And just when it seemed the revelations couldn't get any more shocking, Terrence Howard reportedly added his own accusations to the mix. He claimed young Miami wasn't just present, she was actively helping Diddy transport substances, ensuring he had them wherever he went. According to the court documents, during rehearsals for the Something in the Water Festival in Virginia, Mr. Jones personally witnessed Diddy using cocaine in his dressing room. The situation escalated further when Diddy allegedly requested another drug, Tucci, only to find that his assistant Brendan had forgotten it. So who stepped in to make sure it happened? Christina Coram allegedly arranged for someone to fly the requested substances in from Miami, showing just how high the stakes were. But that's just one layer of the scandal. The lawsuit also claimed that young Miami was far from just a casual partygoer. According to the documents, she, along with Jade and Daphne Joy, was reportedly receiving monthly payments, wired straight from Robin Greenhill's accounts, to act as personal entertainers for Diddy. These payments weren't framed as typical industry transactions. The lawsuit painted them as part of a larger, ongoing criminal operation, suggesting that there was a carefully orchestrated system in place. The more these details emerge, the more the connections between young Miami and Diddy stack up, casting a long shadow over their relationship. And now, if rumors are to be believed, 50 Cent is sitting on video evidence that allegedly shows young Miami in compromising situations. For anyone following the saga, this is no small detail. 50 Cent is known for his knack for stirring up chaos and airing out dirty laundry with a healthy dose of pettiness. Given his long-standing feud with Diddy, it feels like only a matter of time before he drops another bombshell. If he decides to hit that upload button, the ripple effect could shake the story even further. Now, Terrence Howard's claims might just be the tip of the iceberg. The weight of these allegations has already reignited speculation about young Miami's deeper involvement, and if 50 Cent really does release those videos, it could be game-changing. What's clear is that the narrative is far from over, and as the drama continues to unfold, everyone's watching to see who will speak out next, what receipts will surface, and how the major players will respond.